Can take the program ahead now.
Okay, ma'am. Welcome and good afternoon to everyone present here. On behalf of VES College of Pharmacy, I, Shaina Rebello, final year BPharm student at Westcop, extend a warm welcome to our keynote speaker, Dr. Sohan Chitlange. Our three speakers for the day, Dr. Supriya Shidai, Dr. Anita Aire, and Mrs. Pradnya Korlekar, and of course to all the participants present here. Today's webinar, titled Research, Innovation and Ranking in Higher Education Institutions under NEP 2020, celebrates the one-year anniversary of the transformative reforms under the new education policy, which was passed for implementation in July 2020 last year. This new policy replaced the previous one, which was framed in 1986. The new policy aims to reform the learning landscape and bring in a more holistic approach, thereby building an Atmanirbhar Bharat. In today's session, we will hear from our esteemed speakers about the measures to improve AICTE, CII, and NIRF ranking, as well as the practical adoption of national innovation and startup policy. Additionally, this webinar will also get into the much needed inculcation of innovation-oriented culture at higher education institutions. To begin the session, I now introduce our very own Dr. Rajeshri Hirlekar Madam. Dr. Rajeshri Madam is the Professor and Head of Department of Pharmaceutics and is also the IQAC Coordinator at Westcop. She has authored about 42 articles and co-authored several papers at the national and international level. She has 17 years of research experience in her total career of 27 years as a teacher. She has mentored more than 30 MPharm students. Innovation in her research work has earned a grant to her patent titled Curcumin Microemulsion. Her research work has been recognized by various awards at national and international levels. Her research work is funded by DBT AICTE, apart from the University of Mumbai. Till now, she has more than 40 lakh of grants to her credit. I request Rajeshri Madam to kindly give the opening remarks and introduce the audience to our keynote speaker for today, Dr. Sohan Chitlange, sir.
Introduction. Our keynote speaker, Dr. Sohan Chitlange, Principal Professor D.Y. Patil, Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences and Research, Pimpri, Pune. Principal Dr. Supriya Shidai, faculty and delegates, a very good afternoon to one and all. IQAC of VS College of Pharmacy is delighted to welcome you all for the webinar on the research, innovation and ranking in the higher education institutions under NEP 2020. At the outset, let me brief regarding VES College of Pharmacy. In the pursuit of the goal to provide quality education to all the strata of society, VES has set up 26 institutions over the last 59 years, which include schools, junior college, degree college in arts, science, commerce, computer science, mass media, management, law, engineering, polytechnic, and architecture. VS College of Pharmacy was a result of the dream and passion of the senior most trustee of VS, Shri B.L. Bulani ji, who worked relentlessly with our coordinator, Professor Jharna Das Madam, to raise the institute. Their plans were implemented successfully by our Dr. Supriya Shidai, who is a role model for all of us. Since its inception in year 2007, Westcop has shown a significant growth in terms of programs offered, their quality standards, and the required infrastructure for nurturing pharmacy professionals. Presently, we are running BPharm and MPharm programs in the branches of pharmaceutics, pharmaceutical chemistry and quality assurance, and PhD in pharmaceutics and pharmaceutical chemistry. With the state-of-the-art research facilities and advanced library support, the endeavor of undertaking novel research work is being fulfilled well with some breakthrough outcomes. I'm proud to share with you at this point that we have already made good beginning in the by bagging several industrial sponsored projects, 4 Government of India funded projects, and some university funded projects with a total grant of more than 1.5 crore. Also, research work guided by some of us have received national and state level recognition through some prestigious awards. We are currently working on a project funded by Government of Belgium and with prestigious University of Strathclyde, UK. We hope to achieve still greater heights in research under the mentorship of Professor Nagasenkar Madam, who is our research advisor. Recently, our faculty members have received several gold medals Inter-University Research Convention Avishkar, and our college has bagged overall championship in the pharmacy for our achievement among all the colleges of University of Mumbai in the year 2020. Some of our noticeable initiatives are launching collaborative research center with Procter & Gamble, conducting campus to corporate transition program for students, executive development program to train industry professionals, add-on courses in the areas of regulatory affairs, pharmacovigilance, and AI machine learning to imbibe knowledge and soft skills among students and regular interactions with our stakeholders, that is parents, industry, and alumni through PTMs, industrial advisory board meetings, and meetings. Our efforts are reflecting into excellent academic achievements and promising career paths for our students. Amongst our other notable achievements, Westcott was one of the topper colleges in the University of Mumbai, receiving NBA accreditation for its B.Pharm program based on the outcome-based education as per the Washington Accord. Westcott also topped in the entire country of established pharmacy institution at AICTE CII Survey 2018 for best industry-linked institutes. Our college is among top 5 pharmacy institutes of University of Mumbai and top 75 pharmacy institutes at all India level as per the National Institutional Ranking Framework, and we secured 63rd position in 2020. The institute has been granted permanent affiliation for B.Pharm course by University of Mumbai, and the institute has got recognition from UGC under 2F12E. As a result of motivation by our founding father, Shri Bulaniji, we have now ventured into an innovative project of establishing incubation center at VS. This center will be aiming at promoting entrepreneurship spirit among youths. We, as an incubator, would be committed to nurturing ideas of young startups and translating them into sustainable business through our mentorship and networking ecosystem. VS management has planned a project of extension of pharmacy college to additional 7-storied building for incubation center, and currently the construction is in process. Coming to today's event, the webinar is a second one of completion of 1 year of NEP 2020. The first one was organized on Tuesday, 3rd August, under the theme Skill, Entrepreneurship Development, Employability, Challenges and Opportunities. The session was first one under the series Innovative Disruptions in Academia, and we were fortunate to have Padma Vibhushan Professor M.M. Sharma, ex-director of ICT, as a resource person to note on innovations in academic research for promotion of entrepreneurship for the event. With these highlights about Westcott, let me now introduce today our chief guest, Dr. Sohan Chitlange. Dr. Sohan Chitlange is presently working as a principal and professor at D.Y. Patil Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences and Research, Pimpri, Pune. He has around 22 years of teaching, research and administrative experience. He is actively associated with various professional bodies. Presently, he is Chairman, Board of Studies, Pharmaceutical Chemistry, Savitribai Phule, Pune University, Member, Academic Council, SPPU, Member, Research and Recognition Committee, SPPU, and Nanded University, member of BOS University, Associate Secretary APTI at national level, EC member, Association of Unaided Private Pharmacy Colleges, Maharashtra. Under his leadership, D.Y. Patil Pharmacy College, Pimpri has achieved many milestones. To name a few, the institute is accredited by NAC A grade with 3.29 CGPA, NBA for a period of 6 years, ISO 9001:2008 certified, 2F12B status from UGC, ranked in top 50 colleges of India by NIRF consecutively for last 4 years. Best College Award 2080 by SPPU, Utkrishta Shiksha AICTE 2020, and Best Industry Linked Academic Institute by AICTE CIS Survey 2019 and 2020. He is recipient of Best Principal Award 2018 by Oriental University, Indore, and Best Principal Award 2019 by Savitribai Phule, Pune University, Pune, under category, and recently being declared Best Principal Award 2020 by APTI India. And I feel Sir is the apt keynote speaker for today's theme about the accreditation of the pharmacy colleges. Thank you very much, sir, for accepting our invitation.
Yeah, my pleasure, madam. Thank you so much for the introduction. Can I start my inaugural presentation? Yeah.
Yes, host, please spotlight, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I want to share my slide. Please let me know if it is visible properly.
Yes, sir, your screen is visible.
Visible? Yeah. So thank you so much, Dr. Rajashri Hirlekar, madam, for my elaborated introduction about me and my institution. I want to thank Dr. Supriya, madam, for inviting me for this particular activity and giving me an opportunity to interact with all of you on this topic, research, innovation, and ranking in higher education. I have personally visited VES, and I know it is one of the leading pharmaceutical institutions of the country. In a short span of 14 years, the institution has achieved many milestones. As rightly said by Rajeshri madam, the institution is NBA accredited. It is amongst the top 75 pharmacy colleges in country. Already received Best Industry Link Pharmacy Institution Award by AICTE Survey 2018, and various research award at national, state and national level. I know that the college is a overall champion in Avishkar research competition. So already the VES is on forefront in all these areas, and I'm sure you all must be having a detailed idea about the institutional rankings, the innovative activities to be done, and how the research activities should be taken forward. I'll be giving a brief outline to the participants about the ranking exercise. I'll start with the quote of Peter Drucker, the famous father of management thinking. Ranking does not confer privilege or give power, it imposes responsibility. And we all know that once we are in a ranked institution, it is a challenge for us to maintain that ranking, and it becomes our responsibility to deliver according to our ranking. So in like, what is the university or institutional ranking? So we know it's the ranking of institution on the basis of various parameters, like various combinations of different factors such as research excellence and impacts, funding and endowment, specialization expertise available with the institution, student admissions, student diversity, award and achievements of the institution, the faculty, graduate employment, industrial linkages, historical reputation of the institution, and other criteria. And why this institutional ranking is required? So I have just given it in a simple language. These two things are to evaluate the institute or the university on the basis of academic output, research, faculty expertise, and this gives student worldwide an independent data informed tool to help them choose the right university and institution. So that the why the institution required that particular ranking, so to evaluate their own capacities, as well as it makes easy for student to choose the right institution for their career. So these are some of the major international ranking agencies. We all know about QS ranking. So QS World University Ranking, and we know that India is struggling to get amongst the top 100 institutions in the world. Now this QS ranking is generally on the basis of the academic reputation, employer reputation, faculty student ratio, citation per faculty, international faculty ratio, and international student ratio. And our IITs, they are in the top 20. Some of the IITs, IIT Mumbai is there in the top 200 world university ranking, not 20, top 200 world university ranking, but we are struggling for the top 100. So there are other international ranking agencies are also there, like academic ranking of world universities, Shanghai University ranking, the Times ranking is there. So multiple agencies are there. I'll be more giving you details about the Indian ranking. We all know now both of the institutions. I belong to an institution, Dr. D.Y. Patil Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences and Research, and my institution is among the top 50 pharmacy colleges in India, and VES is amongst top 75 pharmacy colleges in India. So this ranking is given by NIRF, that is National Institutional Ranking Framework, and this is being initiated by Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India, to rank all the institutions of higher education in India. Like previously, the international ranking, that slide shows that was for majorly for the universities. But in the NIRF, it is for university as well as for the institution from the different discipline, like engineering, pharmacy, management, arts, commerce, science. So various discipline-wise ranking is being given by NIRF. In India, we also have some rankings by India Today, Outlook Magazine, Mint, The Week, Data Quest, Career 360, Academic Insight, etc. But NIRF ranking has the widespread acceptance and it is the most reliable compared to the other ranking agencies. And we all know now, because initially when this NIRF was introduced, that time very few people were aware about, very few student, parents, and the stakeholders were aware about this ranking. But now this is a buzzing word, and everybody, while taking the admission, they refer the NIRF list, NIRF ranking, and accordingly they prefer the institution. And that is why it is important for everyone to understand the NIRF ranking. Now, this, as it is said, it is an umbrella framework that constitutes a methodology to rank higher educational institution across the country, and it ranks institution based on 5 parameters. So this NIRF ranking has a well-structured, defined criteria, and it is available on the NIRF web portal also. I'm not going to say anything, like I don't have anything extra to say, because all these parameters are available there. Yes, but definitely I'll add some value to how we can meet the requirement of this particular criteria. So there are 5 parameters for NIRF ranking. So first is teaching and learning, second is research and professional practice, third one graduate outcome, fourth outreach and inclusivity, and fifth one is perception. So these 5 parameters, they have some sub parameters also, and all these five parameters, the weightages are for last 3 years data. So while calculating the output of this particular parameter, last 3 years data is being considered, and these 5 criteria, like parameters, like teaching, learning, resources, it is having 100 marks, weightage is 0.3. Research and professional practice, 100 marks, weightage is 0.3. So I have mentioned the parameter and the weightages. The important to understand here is what is this weightage, 0.3, 0.3, 0.2, 0.1, 0.1. So this is like for teaching, learning, research, if you are getting like out of 100, so 100, this 100 out of 100, this parameter is having 0.3 weightage. So 30 marks will go into the final calculation, because finally the ranking will be declared on the basis of total marks obtained out of 100, and in that 30 marks will be from teaching, learning, resources, 30 from the research and professional practice, 20 from graduate outcome, 10 from outreach and inclusivity, and 10 from perception. So because out of these 5 parameters, like, because I know majority of the faculty member and students, they are attending this particular webinar, so I'll be touching majorly the 2 parameters, that is research and professional practice and graduate outcomes, because teaching, learning and resources, majorly it is an institutional criteria. Even the outreach and inclusivity is an institutional criteria, and I'll talk something about perception, how to improve the perception of the institution. So the first is like teaching and learning resources. Now here there are 4 sub parameters: student strength, including PhD student, faculty student ratio with emphasis on permanent faculty, combined metrics for faculty with PhD and experience, and financial resources and their utilization. Now, as I already said, this is an institutional parameter. So as a faculty, it's not in your hand, and student, they also cannot contribute directly into this particular criteria. It is institution has to take care that they have what the number of sanction intake of UG, PG and PhD student, and they have the full admission. It depends upon the reputation of the institution, the fee structure of the institution, the teaching learning quality of the institution. Then the faculty student ratio, we all know 1:15 faculty ratio is required, and if it is better than 1:15, definitely that will add value to the institution. Then matrix for PhD, it says if the 95% of your faculty members are PhD qualified, the more are the chances of getting more higher ranking and more marks in that particular criteria. Financial resources and utilization, we know that like for private institution or government institution, like 75% amount is for salaries and academic expenses, and 25% amount is for the other expenses. So that whether that is being properly allocated and utilized or not utilized, and based upon the utilization and the submission of the data, the scoring is given in this particular criteria. Now, coming to the important point from faculty point of view, the faculty need to know about the research and professional practice. This criteria carries 100 marks and 0.3 weightage, that is 30 marks in the final calculation. So 100 marks, for 100 marks, there are 4 sub criteria here. So the combined metric for publication, combined metric for quality of publication, then IPR and patents, patent published and granted, footprints of project, and professional practice. I have already I have directly taken this template from the NIRF so that it is easy to understand, because just giving some examples and explaining the thing, I thought better to have the template from NIRF itself. So this is combined matrix for publication. So now this criteria, the matrix, this carries 35 marks. So the formula is already given there on NIRF portal. You can refer that particular formula I have given here also. The important point to note here is, now this is calculated on the basis of number of publications in Scopus and Web of Science indexed journal only. So faculty, students, research students who are involved in the institution need to understand this point here, that if the institution is having 100 publications, and out of 100 publications, if there are hardly 20-25 publications are in Scopus and Web of Science, that is not going to help. And the second important point is the Scopus and Web of Science publications are required. And the second thing is, it is the divisible factor is FRQ, that is total number of faculty member of the institution. So it, like whatever as per the 1:15 ratio, the maximum number of faculty required, or more than that if the institution is having, so that total faculty number is a divisible factor. So if institution is having 30 publication, and if the divisible factor is 30 teachers are there, so it is coming average 1 publication per faculty. It happens with many institutions that there are 2, 3, 4 faculty members who are very good in research, and they continuously give good publications, and their publications are in Scopus and Web of Science, but majority of other faculty members, they consider themselves as a teaching staff. So they consider first important criteria is delivery of their theory and practical classes, and then they are giving the least weightage to the research activity. So if suppose you want your institution to be in a ranking framework in a top 50 colleges or top 75 colleges, you have to see to it that every faculty member of the institution is involved in R&D activity, research and development activity. Though yes, there can be some we can have some the institution can have some policies wherein the senior faculty member, those who are PG guides, PhD guide, the number of publication expected from those faculty members are different, and those who are the assistant professors and they are majorly engaged into the teaching, learning and all other institutional activities, for them it can be a minimum criteria. But that if it is there, then only institution can compete with the NIPERs and the top institutions of the country. Because otherwise, if 3 or 4 people of the institute are performing on publication part, and if the others, the rest complete staff is out of that publication criteria, then it is very difficult for an institution to perform on this front. Second point is, once the publications are done, as now from the first point, 35 marks are there for publications, and publications in Scopus and Web of Science only. So first important policy at the institute level which is required is that all publications should go only to Scopus and Web of Science only. And once the number is done, like equivalent number to the number of faculty members available, so one publication per faculty, or average considering the senior faculty and the researcher of the institution, 2 publication per faculty in a year, that will give a sufficient research output on the publication part. Now the second point comes in, second 40 marks are there for the quality of publication. Now here these 40 marks are divided 20 and 20. So 20 marks are for number of citations received for the publications from the institution, and 20 marks are for the top, like number of citations in top 25 percentile journals. So here the faculty members and students need to understand the quality of journal also. Like Q index is a quality index which defines the publication houses or journals. So Q1, Q2, Q3 and Q4. So there are 4 categories of the journals majorly used by Scopus. So Q1 top 25 journals, so it is in the bracket 0 to 25, then 25 to 50, Q2 50 to 75 and 75 to 100. So institution now need to understand, like, because 20 marks are there for number of citations and 20 marks are there for the quality publications in this top 25 percentile journals. So institution should have a policy wherein the faculty should be. Hello, I'm audible?
Yes, sir. There is some disturbance from some participant. We will take care of it.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so the faculty need to see to it that they are aware about 25 top percentile journals. So Q1 I am talking about. So at least some staff member from the institution should publish their research article into this Q1 category journal, then Q2, Q3, Q4. So if that is done, then only we can score marks in quality of publication. And why the private institution lacks in this particular is it depends upon the quality of research facilities available at the institution, the quality of research funding, the quantity or the research funding which is made available to the faculty members. So there the institution need to contribute, but definitely even the teachers can look into this part, and they can, if the work is good, they can communicate to the good journal. It may take some time, but it will add value to the output. Then IPR and intellectual property right and patents, here also it is very clearly mentioned in the NIRF ranking document that 15 marks are there. So 10 marks are for granted patents and 5 marks are for published patent. Now generally all these data, whether it is publication, whether it is patent or any criteria, almost 3 years are mapped. So previous 3 years are considered for this particular calculation. So just merely filing a patent is not enough. So filed patent has no value as far as NIRF ranking is concerned. Let me clear one thing here. I am talking about NIRF point of view only. So there are other, like we have NAC accreditation, we have NBA accreditation, we have other academic audits wherein all these things have different weightages and different values. But as far as NIRF ranking is concerned, we have to see to it where we stand. So if we have a granted patent, we may get something out of 10. If there is 0 granted patent, 0 out of 10. So if there are number of published patents are there with the institution, we are eligible to get some marks out of 5. And this what sum I am talking about, that is a F factor. So that F is generally based upon the top institution. The top rank institution, how many patents are granted to those institutions, how many patents are published by those institutions, how many publications done by those institutions, how many total number of citations received by the publication of that top rank institution, that is considered as a F factor. That is not known to the individual institution, but that is a F factor. But if we consider F as a 1 also, we have, in many cases we can just see and calculate our own score. And here also important thing is they divide this, the divisible factor is total number of faculty. So we have to take care that almost all faculty member of the institution are part of research and development activity. And then footprint of projects and professional practice. So here also 10 marks. So the average research funding earned by the institution and the consultancy amount earned by the institution, that too for last 3 years. And this is also divisible by all faculty members. So, and the fundings from the sister institution is not considered here. So you should have some fundings from the government agencies like DBT, DST, ICMR, AICT, university, or the industry funded projects are there, as well as the consultancy from the national international institutes, as well as the industry. So if the faculty members are involved in offering the solutions to the industry, definitely they are able to generate some kind of consultancy amount there. They may get some projects from the industry based upon their expertise. So if that industry institute interaction is there, how that industry institute interaction is going to help in all these criteria, we can, like, direct link is not there. Direct link is for AICT CII survey, but indirect link is, if we are more connected to the industry, we'll get more projects, we'll get more consultancy, we will get more industry required projects that will train our student as per the need of the industry, and that will improve our placement. So that is how the connect with the industry will help in this particular criteria. So this is about criteria 2 as far as NIRF is concerned, and the role of faculty member is concerned. So faculty member has to see to it that they are publishing they are publishing in Scopus and Web of Science journal only. And second is some of them are publishing in Q1 journals, or institutional policy can be prepared wherein who is eligible, or the wherever there are funded projects are there and the output of that funded project is good, that can be communicated to that kind of journal. So immediately it may not give the result, but in next academic year the output will be definitely better. So that can be done. Then the patents and the granted patent and published patent, here also like granted patent, not necessary it should be a Indian patent only, Indian granted patent only. Any international granted patent can also be considered, because the database, it is a third party which is facing this particular database. So if it is granted in any of the countries, then also it is there, and that gives values to the institution. The third criteria in NIRF ranking where I want to discuss is the graduation outcome. This criteria carries 100 marks, more related to the student's output and the performance of the student in the examination. So this particular criteria carries 0.2 weightage, so 20 marks in the final calculation. And there are 4 sub-parameters, sub-criteria for this criteria. So the first is combined metric for placement and higher studies and entrepreneurship, metric for university examination, maiden salary, and for number of PhD students graduated. So the first is 40 marks out of 100 are for placement and higher studies. So the formula is very simple over here. 40 into, in the bracket, number of students placed divided by 100 plus number of students admitted for higher studies divided by 100. So if the institution is having 60 intake, 45 students are placed and 15 they took admission in higher studies, or 45 out of placed student. Now here, because here the separate tab is not given for the entrepreneurship, or separate calculation is not there for entrepreneur, those who are opting for entrepreneurship. So the number of student placed, we can include the students who opted for entrepreneurship into the placement, because what data we need there, we need offer letter, we need their salary sheets and their iCard from the industries. So even the entrepreneur can submit their details of registration of their firm, whether it is a company, private limited company, or LLP, or it is a proprietorship firm, whatever it is. So that database we can collect and we can keep it under one head. And the second one is the student admitted for higher studies, and that there we need the admission letter, the allotment letter, the fees payment receipt, and iCard of the student. But this is like the institutional efforts will decide this particular 40 marks. And institutional efforts means particularly the efforts of faculty members and students only. Like if maximum number of students are placed, so that means the training placement department of the institution is putting lot of efforts in the placement of the student, and students are groomed accordingly so that they can grab good better placement. And the second is the higher studies. So if the institution is offering extra classes with respect to GRE, with respect to TOEFL, with respect to GPAT, so automatically the number of students going for the higher studies is high, and collective efforts in the placement and higher studies and entrepreneurship can help in getting 40 out of 40 marks in this particular criteria. But institution need to perform, the faculty members and student need to put more energy, lot of energy on this part, and every student going out from the institution should be tracked with respect to his progression either in the job or in the higher studies, and that data is important for the institution. Metric for university examination, a simple metrics wherein the university results are considered. So if like number of students appearing for the examination and their result, so if the teaching learning process of the institution is good, if there are good number of teachers available in the institute, if the regular academics is being conducted in the institution, that is going to help them to score in this particular criteria. The first criteria 40 marks where I talk about is that these 40 marks are based upon the placement and higher studies. But yes, merely giving placement will help you to score mark in this particular criteria. But if you want the marks for this maiden salary, that is 25 marks, so where your student are placed, the quality of placement will come into the picture over here. How much salary they are being offered, whether it is the average maiden salary, average salary, or above average salary, salary which is equivalent to the top institution of the country, that is being offered to your student. And if that is possible, and that is possible only if the training placement department, the institution is taking extra effort in grooming the student, and they are taking extra efforts in inviting the industries and having the MOUs with the industries, the training program with the industries, like campus to corporate program which VES is conducting. So that kind of programs are required, which will help to increase the salary, the expectations, what our students are being offered by the industry. So higher salaries are being offered, and automatically the institution will have a better output on this criteria. And this one is related to the PhD admission, so it is not related to the student and faculty, it is up to the institution. So if they have a research center and PhD student going out, so they can score marks in this criteria. The fourth criteria is outreach and inclusivity. Here also, this is an institutional criteria as such. So not much, I am not going to speak detail because even I am running out of time. So just what all sub criteria are there, I'll just touch them. So percentage of students from other state countries, percentage of women faculty members and students. So more than 20% of the women faculty member and 50% of the women student in the campus. So that is that will give you the marks over here. Then the facilities for economically and socially challenged student, and facilities for physically challenged student, if they are being made available by the institution, they will then you will get good marks in this criteria, and ultimately it will help to achieve the ranking to the institution. And the last point is the perception, which is for 100 marks. I get many calls from many people with respect to this criteria. Sir, how to score marks in perception? So this perception generally, it is your legacy of the institution. You're standing in the market, your visibility in the market. So kind of activities you perform, and you make the stakeholders aware about all those activity, that plays a very important role in increasing the perception. And this perception is by the industry experts, by the academic peers. So whatever activity you people are doing, that activity should reach to the academician of the country, the topmost academician of the country, and the industries which they are recruiting a student, whether they are recruiting or not recruiting, but they should know about the institution. So DY Patil is providing good training to the student. The students are good. So that mindset, that message should go to the industry. DY Patil is having good number of faculty members. They are having senior faculty members. The experienced faculty members are there, or any other. I am taking my own institutional example, but likewise, individual institute who is aspirant of getting into the top 75 pharmacy colleges, top 50 pharmacy colleges, need to understand that their visibility in the market, they need to improve. And visibility to whom? So we advertise ourselves on the social media. Yes, for our student, whatever activities we do, what that activity, that is the biggest platform we can use now, right now, to make ourselves visible into the market. So faculty achievements are there, different kinds of projects outputs are there, publication outputs are there, the different kinds of achievement of the institution, the faculty member and students are there. So we have to see to it that we make them visible to the academic peers and the industry members and the other stakeholders. And if that is being done over the period of time, your reputation will build, and then that will help you to receive more marks on this particular criteria. See, now for NIPERS, BITS, all government institution, for top rank private institutions also, like JSS is there or NMIMS is there, they have their own brand, and that legacy carries with them, and that is why they have more they score more on this particular criteria. So to reach to that level, to their level, we have to put lot of efforts and to brand ourselves, to advertise ourselves, to make our activities visible to everybody. That is what is required. And just merely advertising will not help. The content is required. What we are going to advertise, that is also important. What output we want to present to the outside world, that is also important. So institution need to think on this line, and definitely here also all students and faculty members can contribute. So their achievements, their publication, their presentation, faculties or student, that can be branded, that can be advertised, and that they can reach on participation of the faculty into the various national, international conferences, participation, presentation there in the conferences, participation by the student, presentation, participation in various competitive activities. That will help to showcase your institute, and that is going to help you to get more marks in this particular criteria. So with this ranking agencies, like I have tried to touch all 5 criteria, and majorly I have given the idea about the points which are important from the faculty and student point of view. And just to wind up with this ranking system, the more you play, better off you are. So you need to understand this ranking system, the weightages, and what is important, what is not important, where the institution should focus, where the faculty member should focus, where the student should focus. That is, so every year you can have your own internal audits, and on the basis of performance in individual criteria, you have to set the different level of target. And once you achieve that particular target, next year the higher target should be set, and accordingly you can go and you can maintain your position and achieve higher position also if the performance is good on that part. So this is from my end. I think I have tried best to deliver. I once again thank Dr. Supriya Madam for inviting me and giving me an opportunity to share my view on the rankings with respect to student and faculty members, because otherwise this particular complete ranking explanation will take more than 2 hours. If suppose we get into the individual criteria and how to improve the performance on that part. But just overview I have given. Any faculty member, anybody if want additional information on any of the criteria, I'll be available. I can definitely help in that part. This is as per my understanding. There are senior academicians who can better give ideas with respect to all these criteria, but definitely institution can achieve all these things if they have a good policy, a teamwork, the student, teachers, stakeholders, everybody is unitedly working for that particular goal, then nothing is impossible. So I wish all the best for this webinar and thank you so much.
Very excellent presentation by you, sir. Quite motivating, quite inspiring. And it is like said from horse's mouth. You have already exemplified your leadership through performance of your institute, and was extremely informative session. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Chitlange, sir, for this very informative and comprehensive talk. I'm sure everyone in this session has learned so many new things and intricacies about the NIRF ranking. So we can have a smarter approach to improving an institution's ranking.
Yes.
It has been both a pleasure and a privilege listening to someone as accomplished as you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.